This bike has to be the most unique bike that I have ever had or that I've ever seen in my life. This is the City Venture by Vanpowers. So let's go ahead, let's open up this box and see what exactly we have to do to get this full-size bike that's in this teeny tiny box put together. Let's get to it. All right, the first thing that we see is some accessories. Okay, so we're getting to the part where we're going to have to basically assemble this, and it says what you want to do is you want to basically position the bike up like this, and then make sure that you look down the frame whenever you insert this pipe, because you want all these parts to line up just right whenever you go to insert them. There we go. This thing is coming together. Okay, so I thought I'd show you guys this. There are specific labelings as to which order you're supposed to tighten down all these bolts. So basically you work your way around the frame, tightening each bolt. That way it gets a nice even tightness all the way around, and you're not over tightening it in one and then it becomes loose in the other. And then you want to make sure that there's no gaps in any of the joints where it's actually connecting. This is the Vanpowers City Venture Bike. You guys may be familiar with Vanpowers because of my last review of their bike called the Man-A-Day. Now that was a class 3 fat tire e-bike, a super powerful bike that could go upwards of 25 to 28 miles an hour. That is not what the City Venture is. The City Venture is a class 1 e-bike, so there's going to be no throttle on this, and it's going to be a lower powered motor altogether. In fact, this runs off of a 36 volt system with a 7 amp hour battery in this down tube that is not removable without disassembling the bike. And that system powers a 350 watt rear hub motor. If you looked at this bike standing off at a distance and you weren't familiar with this particular bike, you would think that this was a carbon belt drive with a geared hub system. But in fact, it's a carbon belt drive made by Gates, but has a rear hub motor. So with the 350 watt motor, you're not gonna get extreme power. Now, the way that I would describe that this bike feels whenever you're going down the road is if you've ever been out on a road bike and you've had a nice tailwind. Now, a couple of things to take note with on this bike is that it does have Tektro hydraulic disc brakes. Now, one of the most unique parts about this bike is the carbon belt drive made by Gates. This is a really nice system because it's super low maintenance, and not only that, it's practically dead silent whenever you're going down the road. You don't have to worry about oiling this or doing any type of like regular chain maintenance to it. These things, once you get them installed, they should last upwards of about 10,000 miles. Now, another thing that's really cool about this is the integrated computer system inside the stem. This is a King meter system. It's a really nice, colorful system that's easy to see in the daylight and at night. One thing that I really appreciate about this is whenever you go through the modes, it changes colors. So as you get used to riding this bike, you can just look at the color that's on the screen and know what mode you're in. Now, the City Venture has a very, very unique frame design, and it was specifically designed by Vanpowers. They came up with this tenon and mortise system, which is a design that's been in like woodworking for quite a while. and it's proven that it's extremely strong. Now for the wheels and tires, I was really happy to see that they used 700 size rims. They went with 28C tires, so this combo is a 700 by 28C. You can't fit any bigger of a tire on here. There's not enough clearance in the fork or in the back. So 28C is as big as you can get, but you could always go down to say a 25C or a 23C if you really wanted to. Now I went ahead and already upgraded the stock pedals. The pedals that come with it are just plastic pedals. I went ahead and put on my Fun Mamba pedals. That way I can clip in on one side and ride flats on the other. Now, if I'm gonna be really picky about something on this bike that I really just think that they could improve on, it's very small. Right here where the seat post is and it goes in and it clamps, I can see silver metal in here from where the other pipe actually tightened down in there. I would really like to see this actually have like a seat post clamp. Now the front up here is actually surprisingly really nice. It is a quick release, but this actually has a through axle, which really surprised me. Now these bars are pretty narrow. I'm used to 780 millimeter bars on my mountain bike, but these are definitely designed to weave through traffic. They're gonna give you 635 millimeters of width. Now, one other thing really quick before we go out for a ride on this bike does have the option to actually expand the battery. There is a bottle battery system that Vanpowers, they are sending me one. I haven't received it yet, and it'll extend the range to where you can get upwards of 50 miles plus on this bike. And believe me, whenever I get that, that's gonna be the #1 test that I have for it, is to test out both batteries to see if I can get close to that 50 miles or if I can actually go over it. The next thing we need to do is get our riding gear on, and we can go out and hit the road and put this thing through its paces. We're on power level 1 right now, and it seems to assist somewhere between 8 and 9 miles an hour. Let's go to 2. I'm on a pretty flat area here. This is getting me to about 12 and a half. Power level 3, 16. Power level 4. Oh, we're cruising now. All right, 18 and a half. Yeah, 18 and a half for power level 4. And power level 5. Getting close, 19 and a half, and it feels like that's what it's going to give me, and then I would have to push after that, so around 19 to 20 on the top for assistance. Just listen to how quiet that is as I go over these little cracks. Literally no noise. That's so nice. If you live in a city that doesn't have a ton of hills, man, this bike could be it. We're gonna get a running start at this since we only have one gear. This is the hill that I tested the Maniday on, and it's a 19% grade. Right now it's probably like a 12. And as we get up here by this driveway, it starts to get to 19, and I'm already working, going 13 and a half. Now this is level 5. I have no gears. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to stand up here in a second. This is not your hill climbing bike. Don't buy this if you have a ton of big hills like this. If you live in San Francisco, you're gonna be hurting. Whew. I don't feel any assist. I'm sure it's assisting me because, yeah, okay, it is. Holy cow. Thank goodness this bike only weighs 35 pounds. Yeah, here we go, almost to the top. Maintaining 7, so it's not bad, but that's a killer hill. When you're on a regular bike, it's brutal. All right, we're at 7.5 miles and I've lost 1 bar. So if in tradition to all the other e-bikes that I've ridden, the lower half of the battery is much smaller than the top half. So usually after you lose 1 bar, you start losing bars very quickly. My suspicion, I could probably get maybe 25 miles out of this. So there you go, that's the City Venture, and this bike has some very unique characteristics that make it kind of a one-of-a-kind bike. And to be 100% honest with you, I'm actually more impressed by this bike than what I thought I would be. I assumed that this would just be a fun project to build, not sure that the ride quality would be all that good. But actually, the ride quality is really nice. Now, I really enjoy the fact that this is a single speed belt drive, so it keeps it really simple and super clean up in the cockpit. And the fact that it has this 350 watt motor, you really don't have to have gears. Now, I mentioned earlier that you can have an extra battery for this. Now, whenever that battery comes in, I do plan on doing the commute to my job. That's about 20 miles each way, so 40 miles round trip. And I'm hoping that I can pull that off with just 1 single charge, ride to work, and then ride back without having to charge in between. Now, there is one last thing I would like to do, and that's weigh this bike. They claim that this weighs about 35 pounds. Let's put that on the scale and see if that's the case. All right, so that's definitely not 35 pounds. I'm not sure where they're getting the weight of 35 pounds at. I got 41.31 pounds. I'll give them just a little bit. Let's take it down to 40 because I have metal pedals on here instead of the plastic pedals. But yeah, that's 5 pounds difference. I'm not sure where the 35 pounds comes from, but 40 pounds for an e-bike is actually still pretty light. If you guys enjoyed this review, I would really appreciate it if you click the subscribe button and click that like button, as those things help out a small channel like mine. And I would also like to thank Vanpowers for sending me the City Venture and letting me do this review. This was a ton of fun. And as usual, they don't give me any stipulations on what I should say or shouldn't say. They just send me the bike and say, give us an honest review. And really, I like this bike. I think it's a pretty cool bike, and I think for the price point, it's pretty much spot on. If you guys like to build things, and if you like road biking, and you want something that's not gonna be a class 3 beast of a bike, you want something that's gonna give you that little extra push whenever you need it, the City Venture is for you. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.